Y'all, I think modern women ruin dating, and here's why. Let's get into it. Hookup culture. Women giving their bodies away to men that have not committed to them on any level. They've made relationships transactional, not being realistic. Now the majority of women want the minority of men, using tactics of shame and emasculating men to manipulate them in doing what they want them to do. Some men now are choosing to go their own way, not even trying to date in this modern dating culture. Ain't that a shame?
Well, men is going to agree with what this lady is saying. This is a grift. This is a grift. And she's probably, I don't know who this lady is, but she's probably popular on some form of social media. So yeah, she's saying canned answers and narratives that are out there that these thoughts of hers are not original.
A lot of good men not dating because they don't see value in this modern dating culture.
No other generation in history has ever had to swipe through dating apps and look at pictures of men on the internet that are from 5 years ago and then meet them out at stupid restaurants and pretend to like the stupid drinks they order just for them to 3 days later say that this is not gonna work out. Then why did we go on the date, Jason? Why? I'm sick of seeing everybody my age get engaged and tell me, just get back out there. Where?
Ma'am, your behavior. This is in public. Because when you post it to any social media platform, it's public. Who the heck is going to deal with this type of behavior? Oh my God. Oh, let's say you actually came up on some actual life situations and there's some adversity involved in life. Is this the way you're going to react?
We're in hell!
It can't be just me that gets this, right? Like, you're talking to someone.
What's going on here? Have you been sucking on sours, or do we got a little bit of lip injections going on here? Speaking of that, you don't even look like a real person. Ugh. Yeah. Look at this. Look at this and this. But this right here is the most glaring thing, and I'm sure you have something done to your nose. And you gonna come on here up. Yeah, let's see what you gotta say.
You sent a message at 9:15. They're active at 9:17. And you're still left on red. What? Who are you to leave me on red? Or unread, should I say? Then they reply, sorry, I fell asleep. No, you bloody did not. You're active. We've got technology that can tell us when you're active, and you was. So now you're lying to me.
The dating market is doomed, and feminism is to blame. What we're seeing now is a massive shift in our society, and it doesn't look good. Women are absolutely dominating the workplace now because of massive assistance from a toxic feminist society. As women become more successful, record numbers of men are withdrawing from society completely. There's a massive decline in young men seeking relationships with women. More men between the ages of 18 and 30 report having no sex in the past year than at any other point since records began. That figure has tripled in the past decade. By 2030, most women at the age of 30 will be single and childless, slaving away in a career for a boss who doesn't care about them while going home to an empty condo drinking cheap box wine, stroking her cats. This would all be funny if it wasn't such an existential threat to a society. Feminism was so shockingly short-sighted and our government so weak that this insane state of affairs has been allowed to become a reality. By all accounts, and
these stats are so true. We can't continue like this. We cannot continue like this. We need to make families. Ladies, Do whatever you gotta do. Cause it's on y'all. Y'all leading this spiral down a hellhole, which leads to a freaking nuclear catastrophe as far as relationships go. You have to get beyond yourself and understand why you were put on this earth. You know why you were put on this earth. And so we have to get past this. This can't continue. You have to cooperate with a man. It's not about doing whatever it is you want to do. Because when you cooperate with a man, he is not just gonna do whatever it is he wants to do. He's not gonna do that. He's gonna do what's best for the family. Whatever is best for the family, he's gonna do that. But he's gonna make sure he's right. Because if he's not right, that'll fuck up all of it. And the same thing with you. You have to make sure you're right and do what's best for the family. Have you ever heard of this word? Ooh, I'm gonna make up a new word for women. Ooh, 2 new words. Here we go. Compromise. Oh, and the next one. Sacrifice. Because once you get to a certain point in life, it's not about you. But make sure you're ready to understand that.
And if we trust the predictions of the experts, this could be a cataclysmic event for the human race. Some people are even saying it could be the beginning of the end of society. And that's not an exaggeration. There's a reason we speak out against feminism so much on this channel, and it's not only because feminism is a complete meme factory that makes a joke of itself every time it speaks. It's also because feminism perpetuates a war between the sexes that will bring civilization to its knees. And it does so based on premises and man-hating propaganda based, not on fact, but in fantasy. Today, we're going to be diving into why the Western dating market is completely doomed. We're going to talk about why feminism scored the biggest own goal in Western history and why it continues to shoot itself in the foot, ignoring any critical feedback for opportunities for self-reflection. For decades, feminism has reigned supreme as the main ideology in Western society. Over the decades, feminism got its hooks into society and convinced everyone to hate men as much as they do. Feminism was so successful at this that they even managed to convince many men to hate themselves on some level. Fueled by a toxic cocktail of greed, a hunger for revenge, and a hint of jealousy, feminism infected modern society with the warped idea that history can easily be explained as thousands of years of female oppression by men. Not just some men or a few men. No. To feminism, all men are to blame. To feminism, men are the main.
So if you think about feminism, it makes no sense at all. Why would men want to oppress women? To me, that makes no sense at all. A man wants a woman to be who she is and who she's designed to be. I don't know what other way to put it. Be a woman. Don't be me. I'm not trying to procreate with me. I'm not trying to kiss me. I'm not trying to rub my hand on the back of me. So don't be me. That's what feminism has taught you. Feminism has taught you to be me. I'm not trying to have sex with me. Don't be me.
main problem that needs to be solved. And it exists so that women can defeat them. It's never been about equality. That's just something feminists tell themselves so they feel better about what they do. Here's something that's quite dark. When you designate an entire demographic of people as being guilty, you start to dehumanize them. They call it scapegoating. In this case, feminists blame an entire gender for their misfortune. And the thing is, when you dehumanize and make a scapegoat out of an entire demographic, all poor treatment of that demographic becomes justified. Because they're the problem, and they're not really human. You can do anything you want to them. This is how the Nazis were able to persecute the Jewish people so extensively. They convinced their population that the Jewish people were not human. And this is why women are rapidly becoming more successful than men. The feminist dogma that infected our society.
And the kind of same thing happened in slavery. It's the overall population were convinced that black folks were 1/5 of a human, so basically less than a dog. So any treatment that you gave to the slaves, it was justified because they're not human. They're pretty much a pool toy, and that's pretty much true. They're nothing more valuable than like an empty bottle. No, that bag of trash that you're taking out, that is about as valuable as these slaves are. So whatever you're doing to them is justified, and society rolled with that narrative, and they did what they did at that time. So with feminism, it is so ingrained in Western society, and it's not good for Western society. It's basically saying you don't need a man. Ma'am, you need a man. Just like a man, he don't need a woman, but he desires a woman. Because survival is based on us being together. We have to further this society on. With your big careers and degrees and all of this, they end with you unless you decide to procreate and be with a man. All that stuff ends with you. If you're cool with that, you're cool with that. Nah, us men, we're not. We're not cool with that. We want to procreate. We want to continue the human race. The human race stops with you, with your attitude, the way that you look at things.
Successfully convinced the institutions to give women massive assistance based on their gender. Feminism convinced the institutions to rig the game against men. They made it easier for women to get into the best colleges. They made it easier for women to land the best jobs. They made the education system easier for women. They did all of this without a single thought as to how it would affect men. They even actively pushed men aside. Did you ever hear about that story of men gaining entry to a women's...
Another thing, women, stop competing with men. Just cooperate with us. That's the way it's supposed to be. Stop competing.
only tech conference by identifying as non-binary?
This is supposed to be a joyous event that centers around you. Yesterday, it became clear that there are a far greater number of cisgender men attending than we anticipated. Simply put, some of you lied about your gender identity when you registered. And as evidenced by the stacks and stacks of resumes,
I don't even know what he said.
You did so because you thought that you could come here and take space to try to get a job. We need male allies. We need men who want to celebrate women, who want to work with and for women. And so,
just take a moment to notice the smile on that Sim's face at the end. He's standing on stage being a good little boy and getting the praise of all the girls. It must be his dream come true. It was supposed to be a conference where women could land high-paying tech jobs while denying entry to men. And it was hilarious because the feminists were freaking out, but they couldn't do anything about it. But nothing changed, because they don't care and they never have. Again, they say it's about equality, but they have no problems whatsoever with implementing preferential hiring and diversity quotas based on gender, not performance. This is exactly the kind of hypocrisy that feminism is guilty of. It's one rule for men and another for women. Feminism is not about equality, it's about power. And the shocking thing about all of this is that feminism convinced the institutions to rig the game in favor of women while gaslighting them into believing that women are still the real victims in all of this. They kept playing the tired old wage gap card, but economists debunked the whole gender gap theory decades ago. But nobody listens to them because feminism doesn't care about the truth. It just cares about confirming its own delusions. No matter how much help you give women, according to feminists, it's not enough. It'll never be enough. Not only do they unfairly prop women up, they actively put men down. Through the man-hating dogma, colleges have become a toxic environment against men. This is why they're dropping out at a rapid rate. In 1970, men outnumbered women in college, accounting for 59% of undergraduate enrollment in 2-year institutions and 57% in 4-year institutions. However, by 1980, gender was balanced in 4-year colleges and women outnumbered men in 2-year schools, accounting for 55% of enrollment in those institutions. As of 2019, for every man, there are now almost 2 women attending college. This is the highest recorded gender imbalance favoring women in US college enrollment history. College is becoming increasingly expensive and men are far less likely to make it through to the end. Probably because they know at the end of their line their resume will be thrown in the trash because they're a man, and their job handed to a woman by default. It's hard to stay motivated to get a college degree when you know it's not worth the paper it's printed on. So women are succeeding while men are checking out of society. Hooray for feminism. But the thing is, nature has a funny way of restoring the balance sooner or later. Ideology will never beat biology. There's something that feminists never considered when pushing to get women into all the best jobs, while allowing men to still perform all of the dangerous ones. And that is an uncomfortable truth feminists hate to admit: hypergamy. Women are hypergamous. They will always look for an upgrade. They will only mate and date across and up socioeconomic structures. They will never date down. This isn't just some theory chained to the confines of Reddit anymore. It's an established biological fact. And what do you think happens when you unfairly rig the game in women's favor and make them more successful than the vast majority of the men? That's right, they aren't going to want to date anyone. With this one stupid move, feminism successfully rendered the vast majority of men completely undateable to modern women. This is because they refuse to acknowledge the reality of hypergamy, and now we're seeing it come back to bite them in the ovaries. And surprisingly to you and I, they still blame men for it. Accountability really is the boogeyman under the bed to a feminist, isn't it? And here's something I haven't mentioned yet. Instagram has allowed women's delusional view of their own sexual market value to skyrocket. Social media has allowed women to receive constant external validation from thousands of desperate, thirsty men, artificially pumping the egos of millions of women. And now, a normal guy isn't enough for them. A 5 thinks she's a 10. Modern dating truly is broken. What we're seeing now is a mass of miserable, lonely, career-driven women who were sold a bill of goods by feminism that was never going to pay out. By listening to the lies of feminism and ignoring the criticism of well-meaning men, modern women have dug their own grave. Through the blind man-hating ideology, feminists refuse to acknowledge that women might want to date men someday. Modern feminism really is the result of a few bitter and angry women who got pumped and dumped and decided to make a whole political movement about it. But there's one strange fact about all this. 63% of men under 30 reported being single, while 34% of women reported being single in the same age bracket.
Wow. Did you hear that? 60% of men reported being single in this age bracket. 30% of women reported being single in this same age bracket. What does that say to you? These women are, and if both are telling the truth, I'll venture to say that men are probably telling the truth more because they're looking. The 34% of women that said this, they're not really looking because they know they can just shoot a text to a guy and it's on and popping. That's not the case for men. Men gotta do 2, 3, 5, 7 steps to get into that box. Women, they just have to exist. And they know this. And then again, I'm gonna point back to the man. Don't empower this shit. Don't stick it in a 3, 4. Don't stick it in a 10 unless you want to be with her. What's going on today as far as relationships go? A lot of it has to do with us men. We gotta do better. We got to do better. And I'm talking about that. That's why I said we. Because would I stick it in a 2? Yes. I would. Would I stick it in a fatty? No doubt. Absolutely. Yes. But I think we should get to a point to where we're going to have our standards, and we're going to stick to those standards because women do not get rejected. They don't. They just don't. Men are used to rejection. I don't care who you are. We're used to rejection. So when they get to a point to where women are being rejected on a normal basis, these things will turn around. But I'm not gonna lie. Some of them 2s, and this is so vain. Some of them 2s and 3s and 4s, they be having the good. They know what they doing. And I know it's from practice.
The only way the statistic could make sense is if women are dating older men, or most likely that women are sharing chads. This really is the truth. Modern women have been brainwashed with impossible standards to the point where they would rather share a top 5% man than settle for just a normal guy. Feminism has successfully priced women out of the dating market and made it impossible for them to be happy. And now the only people who really benefit from this entire arrangement are the minority of truly high-value men who get to sleep with all of the women. Whoever thought that the only people who ever benefited from feminism were the chads? I'm sure that's not what feminism intended, but it's the result they got. And this is why you only need to take a glance at social media to see the frustration and misery that modern women are going through. They're angry and asking where all the good men have gone. What they're really asking is, why won't Chad settle down with me? Well, let me ask you this, ladies. Why would he? Thanks to feminism, modern women have become almost completely intolerable in a conversation.
So that's going to be the end of this video. It's bottom line. Men and women were meant to be together. So let's cut out all this minutia, all this crap that's in the middle that's stopping men and women from being together. Let's get together. Let's have children. Let's have families. And let's move on.